Pack a nightlight, of all things. I know how that sounds like advice you give a 5-year-old, and the first time another cruiser suggested it, I nearly laughed at her. Then I spent a night in an inside cabin with no window and no street light, the kind of dark where you cannot see your own hand in front of your face. I got up at 3 in the morning, misjudged where the bed ended, and caught my shin on the desk hard enough to bruise it for a week. That time it was only a bruise, but at our age, a fall in a strange dark room is exactly how a cruise ends in a wheelchair instead of a deck chair, and a $2 light from the drugstore prevents the whole thing. That is what these tips are made of. Not the obvious stuff like bring sunscreen and book early, but the weird, small, almost silly sounding tricks nobody puts in a brochure because there's no money in selling you a cheap light. They're the ones that quietly protect your body, your wallet, and your dignity once you're past 65. I've got 25 of them. The first two are the ones I tattoo on a first timer, so let's take those head on, then I'll group the rest so they actually stick. So number one is that nightlight. Get the kind that's motion activated, the little disc that clicks on the second you swing your feet out of bed, and stick it low near the floor so it lights the path and not your eyes. Inside cabins go pitch black, and even a balcony cabin is dark once the curtains are drawn. It is the cheapest piece of safety gear you'll ever pack and the one most likely to keep you upright. Number two, put your phone in airplane mode before the ship even leaves the dock, and leave it that way the whole cruise. Airplane mode isn't a comfort thing. It's the difference between a normal homecoming and a phone bill that costs more than the cruise did. I once got talking to a man who'd worked a phone company call center, and he told me he fielded furious customers every single day, people home from a cruise staring at a bill north of $1,000. They never made a call. Their phone simply hunted for a signal at sea on its own, latched onto the ship's satellite network, and let the apps refresh in the background all week. Flip on airplane mode, then switch the Wi-Fi back on by itself if you want the ship's internet. That way you control what connects and what doesn't. Those two are the headliners. The other 23 I've sorted into 4 piles so they're easy to hold on to. First, the strange little things to throw in your bag. Then the odd moves to make once you're on board. Then where the money quietly leaks. And last, the things nobody warns seniors about at all. Let's pack the bag first. Number 3, a handful of strong magnetic hooks, and the cleverest use has nothing to do with hanging a coat. The cabin doors all look identical down a long hallway, and by the third day they blur together. A woman I sail with sticks a bright magnet on hers and spots her own door from clear down the corridor instead of trying 3 wrong handles while she's tired. The hooks grip because the cabin walls and the door are steel, so they hold anywhere, no tape and no damage. Hang your hat, your lanyard, your wet swimsuit, and save yourself from bending down to dig through a suitcase 40 times a day. One note before you pack them. A few lines, Disney among them, now fuss about anything that marks up the doors, so stick to magnets and skip the adhesive. Number 4 is staying warm even somewhere tropical. This trips up more older travelers than almost anything because you picture the Caribbean and you pack only for the Caribbean, but the theaters and dining rooms run their air conditioning like a meat locker, and the open decks at night get genuinely cold. Our circulation isn't what it was at 40, and a chill a teenager shrugs off can settle into your bones. I sailed once out of a cold weather port, skipped the hoodie certain I'd be in shorts by morning, and ended up buying an overpriced one on board just to stop shivering through dinner. A light hooded jacket, and for the ladies, a wrap that folds down to nothing, will get more use than your swimsuit. Number 5, and this one comes with a catch, the power strip. The average cabin has 2 outlets, full stop. If you sleep with a CPAP machine, that's one gone before you've charged a phone, a hearing aid, or a camera. Add a partner with their own devices and you're playing musical chairs with a wall socket at bedtime. Here is the catch to know about. It cannot be a surge protector because those are banned as fire hazards, and security will pull it from your bag and hold it the whole cruise. The rules keep tightening too. Several lines now allow only strips with USB ports and no regular plugs, so check your line's current policy before you pack one. Number 6, build your own little medicine kit before you leave home and pack more of your prescriptions than you think you'll need. A packet of pain relievers or seasickness tablets at the onboard shop costs several times what it does at home, and you don't want to trek to the infirmary over a blister. Keep your actual prescriptions in their original bottles and your carry-on, never in the checked bag that vanishes for hours. And bring extra, because if a port day runs long, you do not want to be rationing pills. While you're at it, tuck a written list of your medications and their doses into the same pouch, because if you ever do end up at the medical center, that little card answers half their questions before you've sat down. On seasickness, a woman I sailed with drank flat lemon lime soda warm and swore it settled her stomach faster than anything. And when the galley wouldn't heat the can, she warmed it with the cabin hairdryer. There's no harm in trying it. Number 7 looks ridiculous packed in a suitcase and over-the-door shoe organizer with not one shoe in it. Get the clear plastic kind with the pockets, hang it on the bathroom door, and you've got a wall of storage in a cabin that has almost none. Here's where it earns its keep for us. Your daily medications, your reading glasses, your eye drops all go in those pockets at eye level where you can see them and reach them without crouching or digging through a drawer. No more knocking things off a tiny counter at 6 in the morning. Same caveat as the magnets. A couple of lines have banned over-the-door hangers, so the backup is to hang it from a few of those magnetic hooks. Number 8, your own insulated travel mug. The cups at the buffet are comically small, maybe 8 ounces, so you sip your coffee twice and you're back in line. Fill a real mug once and you're set for hours, with the coffee still hot when you find a seat. The bigger reason is hydration. Older bodies dehydrate faster. A lot of our medications make it worse, and you're out in the sun and salt air all day. So keeping water always at hand is how you dodge that washed out, dizzy, headachy feeling by mid-afternoon. Toss in a few powdered drink packets too, the lemonade or electrolyte kind, and you turn the ship's free water into something you actually want to drink without paying a cent for a soda package. Throw in a couple of small lidded containers while you're at it. They let you carry a roll, some fruit, or a slice of cake back to the cabin, so when you wake hungry at an odd hour, you're not getting dressed and hiking to the buffet for it. Number 9, a pack of wet wipes, and they do 2 jobs. The first one is obvious. The toilet paper on a cruise ship is thin, one-ply stuff built to dissolve in the plumbing, not to leave you feeling clean, and wipes fix that and let you keep a little dignity. One firm rule, and I mean it. Do not flush them, not even the ones marked flushable, because they clog the ship system and you can be fined for the damage. So wrap them in a small bag and bin them. The second job is cleaning. The crew works hard, but they don't deep clean every cabin between sailings, so experienced cruisers wipe down the light switches, the door handles, the remote, and the bathroom the moment they board. That matters more for us because a norovirus outbreak that gives a younger passenger a rough day can land an older one in the medical bay. And if you're a worrier, the government's cruise ship health inspections are public, so you can look up your exact ship's record before you sail. Number 10, get your cruise card off your body and onto a lanyard. That little plastic rectangle is everything: your room key, your charge account, your photo identification to get on and off the ship. Most people bury it in a pocket and dig for it 20 times a day at every bar, every shop, every cabin door. When your hands aren't as nimble as they were or your eyes need a second to find the slot, that fumbling gets old fast and a dropped card is a real headache to replace. Around your neck, you just swipe and go. It looks a touch dorky for about a day, until you notice half the seasoned cruisers are wearing one too. Number 11 is a few clothespins and a small clip-on fan. The clothespins handle 3 nuisances. They pin shut the gap in the blackout curtains that fires a laser of sunrise into your eyes at 6 in the morning. They weigh down the shower curtain that keeps wrapping itself around you, and they hold your towel on a deck chair when the breeze kicks up. The little fan is for the cabin, which gets stuffy and warm while the ship sits in port and the air conditioning struggles. A bit of moving air makes a small, close room sleepable again. Both cost a few dollars and weigh next to nothing. While you're packing oddities, throw in a small pad of sticky notes. You leave one on the mirror for your steward. We'd love extra ice or an extra towel, please. And you've communicated cleanly without an app, a phone, or a game of hallway tag. That's the bag packed and ready. Now, the odd little moves to make once you're actually aboard. Here's number 12, and it's the one that quietly saves you money. Check your onboard account every single day, right from the app on your phone. Everything you buy rides on your cruise card and lands on one bill at the end, and most people never look until that bill slides under the door on the last morning, which is exactly when a mistake is hardest to fix. I sailed with a couple who checked on the first evening and found 6 martinis charged to their room. The 2 of them had split a single glass of wine. It took the rest of the week and 3 trips to guest services to scrub it off, all because it sat there for days. Catch it on day one and they fix it in 5 minutes. This isn't me saying the lines are crooked. Mistakes just happen when thousands of cards are swiping all day and you're the only one watching your own bill. One more from a man I met who handled credit card disputes for a living. His rule was to keep every receipt, even the ones where the card got declined, because a decline can still post a charge you'll need to prove later. Number 13 sounds backwards and it works. Ask your steward to split the beds into 2 singles, even as a couple. Those cabins are tight, and one king shoved against the wall means climbing over each other and shuffling sideways around the foot of it. Split it into twins with a walkway down the middle, and you can both reach the closet, each get to your own side, and climb in and out of bed without a production. A woman I met said it better than I could. She splits the beds every cruise because she needs the room on both sides to help her husband stand up in the morning. For a lot of us, that walkway isn't about space at all. It's about being able to move safely in your own room. Number 14, your cabin TV is secretly a window. Nearly every ship runs its own channels, and one of them is a live camera off the bow, plus a map of exactly where you are, your speed, and the weather at the next port. In an inside cabin with no window, this is gold. Flip it on in the morning and you know whether you've docked, if it's raining, and if the sunrise is worth getting up for. It's also the easiest way to judge whether you'll want a jacket and an umbrella before a long day ashore without dressing and trudging up to a deck to check the sky. And a quiet bonus another cruiser taught me, leave that camera on low overnight, and it throws just enough soft glow to cross the cabin safely, which loops right back to the nightlight we started with. Number 15, skip the buffet for breakfast and eat in the main dining room. On day one, the buffet is fine, everyone's fresh, and the lines move. By day 3, it's a scrum, long lines, no tables, people bumping trays, and you standing there with a plate hunting for a seat. On nearly every ship, the main dining room serves a full sit-down breakfast that almost nobody uses. You walk in, they seat you, you order off a menu, the food comes hot, and you drink your coffee in peace. That's the difference between starting the day calm and starting it frazzled, and you never carry a loaded tray across a moving floor. Number 16, the quiet ship sits one deck away from the crowded one. When the elevator lobby is jammed, and it always is after a show or coming off a port, walk 30 seconds farther down the hall, where there's usually a second or third bank of elevators half the ship forgets exists. The same goes for the restrooms. Skip the mobbed ones by the buffet and the pool, and use the ones on the lower public decks, nearly always empty and spotless. The forward and aft stairwells hide the same secret, since most people herd to the midship lobby and forget the other 2 ends of the ship exist. Now, a word about the stairs. The young folks online will tell you to always take them, and if your knees and balance are good, a flight or 2 is fine exercise. But let me be honest with you, because they won't be. If you use a cane or a walker, or your balance is shaky, the elevator is the right call, full stop. Take the stairs only when you can hold the handrail the whole way, and never to prove a point. Number 17, and almost nobody tells you this, you can walk off the ship yourself at the end whenever you're ready. On the last morning, they call passengers off by group, deck by deck, and the whole thing can crawl on for hours. If you've kept your own bags and can carry them, you don't have to wait. The staff at the gangway don't check your deck, and frankly, they want everyone off so they can turn the ship around. This is a real gift if you've got an early flight or you simply hate standing in a long line. The flip side is a strategy too, by the way. If your flight home is late in the day, do the opposite and leave last after the rush is cleared, when the gangway is quiet and your bags are easy to spot in the hall instead of buried in a stampede. There is one honest caveat here. It only works if you carry your own luggage off. If you put your bags out in the hall the night before, they're sorted by colored tag and you wait for your tags group to be called. And don't shove past people in a checked bag line to get ahead, because that's the move that makes everyone's morning worse, including your own. That covers getting around the ship. Now where the money quietly leaks, because this is where they get you. Number 18, the drink package, and I'll give you the verdict the ship never will. For most people over 65, it's a bad deal. The packages often run somewhere around $70 to $90 per person per day, and to break even, you'd have to drink a great deal, 5, 6, 7 drinks a day, water and sodas and fancy coffees included. Most of us simply don't, and you can't buy it for one person. You have to buy it for every adult in the cabin. Read the fine print too, because several lines now cap you at 15 drinks in a day and count every soda and bottled water against that number, which is not the bottomless deal the name suggests. Here's the honest exception, because there's always one. If you genuinely enjoy several cocktails a day and you'll use it, look at the bundle deals that fold the drinks in with the Wi-Fi and the tips because the per day cost drops a lot. But if you're a one glass of wine with dinner person, pay as you go and pocket the difference. You'll save hundreds over a week. Number 19 is the best value buy on the whole ship, and almost nobody touches it, the thermal spa pass. This is not the massage, which I find wildly overpriced for an hour of someone's time. This is a day pass to the thermal suite, the heated tile loungers, the saunas, the steam rooms, the rainfall showers. It often runs around $40 or $50 for the whole cruise on some lines or per day on others, and you'll have to ask for it because they barely advertise it. For an older body, this is the good stuff. Heat on stiff joints and an aching back in a quiet, warm room while the rest of the ship roars on without you. Buy it for a port day when everyone else is ashore and you've nearly got the place to yourself. If your back stiffens up on a long flight or a damp sea day, an afternoon on a heated tile lounger does more for it than anything the gift shop sells. I once spent the whole Panama Canal Passage in that warm suite watching the locks slide by from a heated lounger with a drink in hand, not a crowd in sight. It was the best money I spent all sailing. Number 20, you can eat the steakhouse steak without ever paying steakhouse prices. The specialty restaurant is usually the priciest meal aboard, $50 a head and up, and you've got to dress up and book ahead. Here is the simple workaround. The lines now sell those same steaks and lobster tails right off the main dining room menu as a small add-on for roughly half the specialty price. You stay in your usual dining room in your own clothes, no reservation, and you get the same cut for a fraction of the cost. For a special night without the fuss or the full bill, it's the smart play. Number 21 is a trick that's quietly dying, so here's the honest version. For years, the dining room menu was treated as a suggestion, and the kitchen would happily bring you extras and off-menu requests. Some of that still works, and a good waiter will still fetch you a second helping of something you loved. But be warned, the lines have been cutting it back, and several now hold you to one main course or add a charge for the extra, especially on the big ships packed with other restaurants. So ask politely, enjoy it when it works, and don't board expecting the free-for-all it was 10 years ago. One thing that does still hold, if the starter looks better than the main, ask for a full-size portion of the starter as your meal. Number 22, the very same cruise can cost a third less depending only on when you sail, with one catch. It really can be wild, the same ship, the same cabin, the same route, swinging many hundreds of dollars a person on the calendar alone. If your dates are flexible, and a lot of us are lucky that they are now, pricing out a few different weeks can save a small fortune. The catch, which nobody selling the cruise mentions, is that the cheapest weeks are off-season for a reason. In the Caribbean, the bargain months line up with hurricane season, so you're trading money for a little weather risk. Sometimes that trade is well worth it. If you'd rather not gamble on the weather, the shoulder weeks, the ones just before and after the school holidays, get you a good chunk of that discount without sailing into the teeth of storm season. Either way, go in with your eyes open and look hard at travel insurance if you're sailing through a stormy stretch. Number 23, the casino, where the games dressed up as harmless fun are still gambling. Bingo, the spinning wheel games, the deal or no deal cards, they all feel like a bit of fun, but you're wagering real money, sometimes a lot of it, since bingo on a big ship can climb into the thousands before you notice. If you just want to stretch a small budget for the entertainment, the coin pusher machine is the one I reach for, the one that shoves coins toward a ledge. Play the edges, not the middle, where the coins are likelier to tip over the front lip than slide off to the side. I'm not promising you'll win. I'm telling you that $20 can last a happy half hour instead of 90 seconds. Set yourself a hard cash limit, leave the cruise card in the cabin so you can't keep feeding it, and treat anything you win as a bonus. I knew a fellow who turned a few $1 into tips for the crew who'd looked after him all week, which is about the most graceful way to leave a casino I've ever seen, and ask a host how to load your free play because the lines often hand you a little credit you never knew you had. That's the money side handled. The last pile is the short one, the things nobody warns seniors about at all. Number 24, leave the marijuana and the CBD at home, every last bit. I know how many of us now rub a CBD cream on arthritis or take a gummy to sleep, and where you live, it may be perfectly legal and ordinary. On a cruise ship, it is not. The lines follow federal law, which still bans all of it, prescription or not, and they post the warnings and they do enforce them. Worse, the ports you visit have their own laws, and some countries treat a forgotten gummy at the bottom of your bag as a serious crime, the kind that brings in local police, not a stern word from security. Picture explaining that to a customs officer in a country whose language you don't speak. It simply isn't worth the risk. Leave it home and ask your doctor for a travel-friendly option for your pain or your sleep that won't get you pulled aside at a checkpoint. Number 25, read the daily planner that turns up in your cabin each evening because the listings that matter most hide in the small print. There's one, same time most days, for a gathering they call Friends of Bill W. That is the quiet code for the ship's Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, and on a vessel with a bar every 30 feet and a drink in every hand, that anchor can matter enormously. You'll sometimes see Friends of Dorothy listed the same way, the old discreet name for the gay and lesbian get-together, if that's your crowd. There are gatherings for solo travelers too, and I cannot tell you how many widows and widowers I've watched walk into one alone on the first day and leave with a table of friends for the week. If you're sailing on your own, go. You are not the only one aboard doing it, and the whole point of that listing is to help you find the others. Cruising past 65 does not have to mean cruising lonely. So there are your 25. Not one of them is glamorous. Nobody films a brochure about a $2 nightlight or a handful of clothespins, and that is exactly why they work and exactly why no one bothers to tell you. The polished extras are what the cruise line wants to sell you. These small, slightly odd, unglamorous fixes are what actually decide whether you come home rested and a few $100s richer or sore, overcharged, and worn out. After a certain age, that is the difference that counts. Now, I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments the one weird cruise tip you already swear by, and the one off this list you're going to try first.